Hello again. I am Fred Earls, Communications Director with New Foundations, Inc. And we are a nonprofit charity in South Georgia. And our topic today is a part two of what we did with our first video here on the channel. With me once again, Dr. Sharon Brown. She is our CEO and our leader, our director. And good morning once again, Dr. Sharon.
Good morning, Dr. Fred. It is good to be here again this morning, and looking forward to kind of talking with you again and helping people understand mental health a little bit better.
We were talking about where we're located, so I'll just go ahead and throw this out there. You are in Texas.
Oh, yeah. Today I am in Texas, so
Yes,
yes.
the great state of Texas.
Yep. So it's good to be here. I am visiting family, helping out right now. So
Awesome.
I'm going to be here this week, and I'll be back home. I am working, obviously, from Texas, so it's not like I'm on vacation here. So yeah, I'm working, but it's good to be here with my family.
Hey, let's continue this conversation we had on mental health. And as we were discussing this, we have two things we kind of want to talk about, and really they're the same thing, maybe just worded a little differently. But the first thing I want to mention to you are, what are some things that we can do to be more mindful of our mental health?
Yes. So as we were talking about last week, we were introducing, just the topic of mental health and what that is, how we need to be more mindful of that. A lot of people don't realize that it's something we should be thinking about on a pretty much daily basis. I know we don't always think about our physical health on a daily basis either. However, we do things on a daily basis to take care of our physical health. And I kind of alluded to that a little bit last time, as far as we eat, we sleep, we exercise a little bit, we, are active. And so we are, through that process, we are taking care of our physical health. Well, we need to work on, in the back of our mind, getting used to doing things for our mental health as well, and kind of do it almost second nature like that. To be able to do that, we need to begin by being mindful of it, just being aware that that's what we are doing, and we're doing it with a purpose.
Okay.
These things don't need to be extravagant. They don't need to be, you don't need to spend hours, just meditating or doing self-care. It is more of I am eating right for my physical health, but I'm also eating right for my mental health. So, again, we eat because we're hungry. We eat because we know we need to eat. But I guess is what I'm saying is just being mindful that it's also for our mental well-being as well. Um, Making good choices, wise choices. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a nutritionist, so I'm not, pushing diets and stuff like that. But I'm just saying that, we want to be aware of the things that we do and how that affects our mental health also. Sleeping is something that I talk to clients about frequently. I had a whole session on Friday about sleep health.
Okay.
And that is talking about, making sure we get the right amount of sleep for our body. Everybody is different. So, you may only need 6. I may need 9. So my husband says,
Right.
but whatever that may be for me, that's what I need. What are the things that we need to do to sometimes help us get to sleep? Or if we wake up during the night and can't get back to sleep, what do we need to do to get back to sleep so that we're able to get that good quality of sleep? So, a lot of us take, I guess maybe I should say, probably the younger generation takes sleep for granted,
Mm-hmm.
and I just go to bed and I go to sleep or whatever.
Sure.
But as we get older, I know, and we have stressors and things such as that going on, we have a tendency to not sleep as good. So again, looking at our sleep health and what we do for our sleep and how we get our sleep is part of mental health. our sleep affects our mental health so much. They go together so closely. So like I said, I could do a whole session on just sleep health, and we may do that in the future, talking about that. So again, these are things that we need to be thinking about, and not just, oh, I can't sleep. Let's look at what is the mental health piece of this. What can we do to help ourselves sleep? What can we do to make sure we're eating good nutritionist foods for our mental health? What are these things? How can we take daily hassles, is what we call them, little stressors that come up day to day, and deal with that, cope with that, and then let it go to where it's not continuing to affect our physical being. If we have all these daily hassles coming, and we don't handle them, they become more of an issue, and they become chronic, and that's what it affects the physical health. So my point is, and my suggestion is to begin to think about, what am I doing today to make sure that my mental health is okay? How much of this stress am I allowing to affect me? And what are those things that I need to be doing to reduce the stress or improve my depressed mood or my feelings? What do I need to do to make sure my head, my body, my soul is okay? So
Okay. Let
that
me
makes
circle
sense.
back. Yeah, absolutely. Let me go back on two things. Number
Yeah,
one, you're not a dietitian. You said that, but you're a mom.
true.
And moms are going to, well, probably by nature, have to, constantly remind children, uh,
Yes.
meal, then dessert, meal, then candy, and also set
Yes.
the example of, okay, no red velvet cake before the meatloaf.
Oh,
I'm talking to myself
yeah.
here, okay?
Well, now, Fred, my mom always said dessert first.
Well, okay.
That's what.
So much for that idea, right?
And well, and I have heard that. I think that's somebody in our history somewhere along the line said that, eat dessert first, and then that way you get the reward first before you get full and don't want the dessert. But anyway, we know that's not healthy. We do not need to
Right.
get.
And I must confess that someone invited us over to their house for dinner one time, and they gave us, are you ready for this? Are you sitting down over there?
I am sitting down.
They gave us 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream and fruit. Well, I kind of
First.
questioned this. No, 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 not first.
No,
That was
okay.
the meal. But it was
Oh,
all natural ice cream, no sugar added. It was just ice and cream almost. And the fruit was fruit, no syrup. There was no caramel. There was no strawberry. There was no chocolate. It was pure ice cream and fruit. Now, they were health food nuts, and that was their meal.
right.
And I thought I could live with this. But it obviously is not probably a normal meal for everybody, but for them it
No,
worked.
right. Yeah. And it's funny though that you talk about, being a mom and having our kids make sure our kids are eating their meal first and then dessert. Well, I'm here to help with my grandson.
Okay.
And so, 14-year-old boy, what does he want? And
Yeah,
so it's really difficult, when you're trying to you want him to eat something, and he would rather have the piece of cake rather than the piece of fruit.
that's right.
So I was thinking, okay, today's day 2 of me actually being here and being his caretaker. So I'm like, okay, I need to do something to make sure he's eating some nutrition today.
Right,
So
right.
yeah.
Okay, the
So
other thing I want to mention is, now you referred to me as a doctor. Just to say, I have a doctorate in ed leadership. I teach public speaking, human communication. And one of the things that students, college students, are not aware of, and you alluded to this, is sleep is important not just because we need to lay down and go to sleep, but it
right.
gives our minds a chance to, or if your mind doesn't know where it is, you can't find it when you need it. And I would guess then that bothers your sleep as well.
Yes. So there are so many things that interfere with our sleep. So yes, if we are busy, and we've got so much going on. I know for even me, and when I talk to clients about sleep health, I do talk about myself and what things I do, because at the end of the day, because I work, I say I work, but this is my life, this is what I
Right.
do. So I'm doing it from the time I get up to the
I
time
was
I go
going
to
to
bed.
say, you're doing it from sun up to sundown.
Literally, yes. And so sometimes when I lay down at night, my mind won't shut off. It's like, what am I, how do
Been there.
I get it to stop?
Yeah.
And that's what we have to work on, talking about college students and just busy people. Our society is busy as a whole. And so we are constantly, thinking and thinking and thinking. And it's hard sometimes to make it hush. I hear that so many times with clients. So going to sleep requires our mind to hush a little bit so that we can get to sleep. And then, of course, it needs to stay quiet so that we can remain asleep. So that's what I was saying. There are so many things that we can do. I know for me, all kinds of different meditations. There's all kinds of music that we can play on our phones that is not, like the music that we listen to during the daytime. It's actually designed to help us sleep, to stay asleep, to work with our brain waves while we sleep. I will, like I said, we'll have a session, a session, but a time in the future where we could talk about sleep health. And so I can give you some more ideas. But
I need.
Yeah. A lot of people do. We might need to do that one next time, right? But I think it's so important that we know this and that we work on just getting to sleep and staying asleep. A lot of times when I talk about sleep health, I talk about how sleep relates to our mental health, what it is that our brain is actually doing. And I'm not an expert by no means. I'm not a neurologist, and I can't tell you everything that our brain does, but I have enough information to where I can talk to my clients and say, hey, this is what your brain is supposed to be doing when you sleep. So this is why it's so important. Well, people say, well, I want to sleep, I just can't sleep. So I get all of that. And so, like I said, we will go into a deeper conversation about that.
Okay.
Because if we don't, then yes, we have a tendency to lose our mind of sorts. There's studies out there that talk about what happens to us physically, mentally, all the way around when we do not get sleep. So it's highly important.
I was driving across town the other day and I saw a billboard and I thought, well, that's interesting. And it said, mental health is health. You talked about this a few minutes ago, going to see the doctor. How do we know when to go see the doctor? And this kind of eludes our second topic or question or statement here, but what are some things that make us question our mental health?
Right. And so, what you were just saying, Fred, that's a question I want to ask you. Is when we look at our physical health, let's compare, our physical health and our mental health for just a minute, but by looking at our physical health, when you think about your physical health, when do you know that you need to go see a doctor, when you need to have something seen about?
When my wife tells me to go. I'm a smart man. I mean, come on.
I love that. What does she see? What is it that she is seeing? What is it that she knows that, okay, Fred, you got to
when I'm more grouchier than usual, I guess.
Okay.
For me, I think back a couple of things, and one in particular, I noticed that it was just different. For example, let me dive in here just briefly, but I sing. I'm a trained singer, and I know when it doesn't feel right, and shortness of breath. I can't hold notes as long. They sound different to me, and I had about 6 months that I kept asking some people I sing with, hey, do I sound differently? Because to me, I'm sounding like 10. It sounds differently. And it was a very metallic sound that I was hearing. But everybody's like, well, no, I mean, you sound like always. And that didn't help me. The feedback I was getting from them was doing me no good. Well, after a
Mhm.
while, I figured, okay, so maybe this is not me. Maybe I need to go see a doctor. And I did have a problem. And of course, now I'm better. But
Good.
yeah, I mean, I sensed something was not right.
Right. I like that. I want to back up just a second, just to you saying, when I asked you what your wife, what would she see that
Hmm.
would say, hey, you need to go see a doctor? And you says, I'm more grouchy.
Yeah.
That tells me, okay, which is very, very interesting to me. That tells me that your physical health, how you're really feeling on the inside, that you're not saying, because you haven't said nothing to her really about how you're feeling physically, but your mood has changed a little bit. You're grouchy.
Very much so. Yeah.
So that goes to make the point that I'm trying to say is our physical health and our mental health go hand in hand. If we don't feel good physically, we don't feel good mental health wise, mentally. We're grouchy, we're yucky, we're leave me alone. I don't feel good.
And
Just
not to go all the way back, but I wasn't sleeping well either.
so there you go. And so yeah, I like so there. See, you see these things kind of lining up here.
Hmm.
So we know we can tell when something's changing in our body physically. And so when it gets to the point to where yeah, it's not getting better, maybe I need to go see a doctor. So I have an example also that I would like to share,
Okay.
that with me personally. Almost a year ago, I was doing something very simple. I was sitting down. A door was open next to me, which this is my left. I know it looks like my right, but my left. And I reached to close the door. I just reached over to close the door. I stretched and just pushed the door closed. Okay.
Okay.
So it was going, I don't know if y'all can see, but it was going this way. And so as soon as I did that, oh, my shoulder. I'm like, man, that hurt. I'm like, I must have, turned it the wrong way, stretched it the wrong way,
And
pulled a
somebody said,
muscle.
no, you're just getting old, right?
Yeah, right. And so, I did that and I said, well, it hurt pretty bad at the moment, but you know, we do things, we hurt ourselves a little bit,
Hmm.
twist our ankle, whatever. It's okay. It will get better in a few days, right? So
Right.
I went on, and a few days later, a few weeks later, a few months later, it wasn't better. It would not hurt all the time. I could sit here, and just talk or do what I do, and it wouldn't hurt. However, if I would move it a certain way, it was that excruciating pain again.
Okay.
Again, it would only last though for maybe a minute or so. It wouldn't last long, and then it would be okay. It would be a little sore, but it wouldn't be. I'm not going to the doctor for that. It's just, it's not that bad. However, after a while, I noticed I began to protect it a little bit. I would not use it as much. I wouldn't do certain things because I knew that it was going to hurt. And it began to get a little sore when I started just to do normal motions, to lift it up or whatever. So I finally says, you know what, this isn't going away. This hurts. It's not just a pulled muscle. So I basically I asked my doctor, just instead of him doing anything for me, I just says, hey, can you give me a referral to physical therapy?
Okay.
So I went, did that, went to physical therapy for a couple of months. It got better. Okay. It got better. I was able to move it and, do whatever. It wasn't, I could tell it was still there. I could tell whatever it was still hurting, but I had my full range of motion back. Okay.
Okay.
Good. So I went, got something taken care of, but a plug for my physical therapy friends, as they will tell you, if you do not continue your exercises after
Right.
you quit physical therapy, then it's going to come back. And of course, it did. I did not continue my exercises, and the pain returned. Again, after a little while, I quit using it as much. I was favoring it, wouldn't, because I knew it was going to hurt.
Hmm.
Um, so at that point, I realized, okay, I'm going to need to see a doctor, a specialist about this, and see what's going on. So I did, and I'm in the middle of that process now. I still have, he gave me my shot, and it's eased up, but it's still not fixed. So I want to relate that to mental health
Okay.
a little bit. Um, I did something, I hurt myself, I waited to see if it would get better. Okay. So sometimes we have things that happen. We have someone that we love pass away. We have some grief, depression with that, or we had a couple of really bad days at work. We've got a lot of stress going on, and we're dealing with a lot, and so we're super anxious and having problems sleeping for several nights in a row, whatever. Um, we don't typically run to the doctor for just these things that happen on a rare occasion. We like I said, if somebody passes away, we're grieving. We may wait, 2 or 3 weeks or a month or two before we, say, yeah, this is more of a problem than just, something that's going to go away. I
Okay.
waited months before I went for my shoulder, right? Because
Right.
it's not going away. So I needed to have it seen about. I went to physical therapy. So like that with grief, say, if it's just simple, I say simple, air quotes, because, when we're going through grief, it doesn't feel simple. But as
Mhm.
long as it's not complex by multiple things that are going on, you can go to a therapist, a counselor for a month or two and talk about grief and learn techniques, learn exercises, like I said, you do in physical therapy. And you have a tendency to be able to handle that grief a little bit better, that depression that may come with that grief or whatever. So you've got some short interventions, things to help you, and it's better. Now, like me, if you don't continue to use those exercises
Right.
after you're finished, then there's a tendency for possibly, if there's deeper problems going on than just on the surface, that these things will come back and it will begin to hurt again. So, you got a question?
Well, I'm gonna make a statement.
Okay,
You're giving us the okay to have some me time,
sure, absolutely. I mean,
whatever the reason might be.
we all need me time. I mean, I think that's so important, and I think I have been thinking about, and we'll come back to that, but I've been thinking a lot about how people think when I talk about self care, it sounds like I'm saying being selfish.
Hmm.
And I'm like, no, self care and selfishness are two totally different things. And when we have me time, that's self care. And when we have me time and self care, that's not being selfish. That's taking care of self.
Okay.
I can't take care of anybody else if I'm not okay.
Okay. Good way to put it.
Okay. So going back to my analogy of my shoulder here, again, when we go to therapy, we get these interventions, for the immediate problem. If that problem is not complex and there's not a whole lot going on underneath that, then those techniques, those skills will help that person. Physical
Okay.
therapy, if I didn't have something else going on deeper inside of my shoulder, that physical therapy gave me my full range of motion and I could have been good, for the rest of my life. However, there's something else going on in my shoulder. Yes, I could have continued the exercises from the physical therapy and had been okay and had that full range of motion. However, I still have a problem inside of my shoulder. So at
Okay.
any point in my life, I quit doing those exercises from the physical therapy, that pain was still going to be there, that issue was still going to be there, and it was going to come back.
You're treating the symptom, not really giving yourself a solution.
Right. And so that's the thing with mental health. A lot of times though, we just need a treatment for the symptom because we can handle the stressors and the things in life on a regular basis on our own. We have those coping skills. However, something may happen that we need that extra help. So we treat those symptoms of whatever that is that's happening that we need help for right now. So
Okay.
good. So what we do though, and you're talking about, how do we know we need help, when something's going on with our mental health?
Hmm.
Well, that's when that pain, that deeper pain continues. And then we need to say, okay, what is causing this pain? What is causing my pain inside, my emotional, my mental health pain? And then that's when we come back to the therapist and we say, and I work a lot with this, is I'm like, let's get to the root of the problem.
Okay.
Let's deal with the underlying issues. And so we want to do that. It's just like with my shoulder though, there's probably a good chance I'm gonna have a little bit of surgery on there. It's
Okay.
gonna hurt, you know,
Mhm.
but it's like I told the doctor, you know, he wanted to give me the shot. He gave me the shot, and I'm like, that's all well and good. I says, but if that's not gonna fix the problem, that's not it's going to start back. It's going to start hurting again when the medicine wears off, the shot wears off, or whatever. It's going to come back. So the way that I look at mental health is let's deal with the root. Let's see what's going on and let's work on it. That surgery is going to hurt when I have it. It's going to hurt bad.
Mhm.
But when I heal, I'm going to be better. I will feel better. My shoulder will feel better. It's not going to come back. It's not going to continue to hurt.
And isn't that what you as a counselor do when you are counseling with people?
Yes. Yes, that is what I do for sure. We do have counselors who will do brief therapy, which is just let's deal with the here and now. What is going on with you right now, and
Okay.
and that's effective. If somebody comes in and that's what they need, then we will deal with that and give them coping skills and strategies to handle that, and then they can go on their way. And like I said, and if they have for the most part good coping skills anyway, and they just had a situation that kind of caused them some distress or whatever, some pain, that works. But
Okay.
a lot of the people that I see, personally, is there are deeper issues. There's deeper things going on.
Okay.
And a lot when people come into my office, a lot of times I'll ask them, you know, what can I help you with? Do you really want to work on these deeper issues, or can I do it? You just want something to help right now to get you through this moment, this problem. And so I kind of give them the option, you know.
Okay.
So
Uh,
I do have both, and we have people that just want to be okay right now.
So if someone wants to reach out to you, to us as the nonprofit for help, we're online, newfoundationsinc.com.
Right.
Is that the best way to reach out to us?
That, or they can call the office number is 229-412-3452. So either one of those are is the best way. Um, they can stop by our office at 305 South West Street in Bainbridge, Georgia, if they want to do that, if they're local.
Yeah.
But yeah, the website, newfoundationsinc.com, or the phone, 229-412-3452.
And I want to stress this piece. We will get back with you if you miss us.
Yes, absolutely.
It's very
Absolutely. Please, if you call and nobody answers, just leave a message. It is a cell phone, so you can also text. I like text.
yes. Okay. Okay.
Yes, so that's really good. Emailing, I guess, is also a good way. I don't think you mentioned that, Fred, but
I did not.
info at newfoundationsinc.com is our email address.
Okay.
Fred, I also want to just put in there, I am still working on the retreats, the speaking engagements. Also, I really have been wanting to hear people's stories. As we are talking about mental health, as we are talking about all these things that we're going to be talking about, sleep health, and, just so many different topics that we have talked about, you and I have talked about,
Right.
that we're going to be discussing in these segments. I like to hear people's stories. How can I help you? What is it that you want to know? So you can always go to my website, which is Dr. Sharon Brown, Dr. Sharon, SHARON, Brown, BROWN.com.
Okay.
Go to my contact page and just send me a little email. You can write your story there, or just say, hey, I'd like to talk to you, and leave me your information. I will get back with you. So I want to be able to actually talk about things that people are wanting us to talk about. I want to know what they want to hear from us. So
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
So I don't know if y'all hear the dog yelling in the background.
That's great, though. That's
Yeah.
great. We're working remote today, so to speak,
Yes,
so
we are.
that's
Yeah.
okay. Hey, Dr. Brown, thanks again for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Fred. I appreciate it. I will talk to you again next time.
And we will do this. So once again, New Foundations Inc. We're online at newfoundationsinc.com. We're located in Bainbridge, Georgia. We are a nonprofit, and it is our purpose to help those who are looking for a stable place in life, a stable life. Maybe you need some help getting life back together. Reach out to us and let us help you. We would love the privilege and the opportunity. Until the next time, though, you have a great day. I'm Dr. Fred Earls for Dr. Sharon Brown, and you take care now. Bye-bye.
All right.